All right, first things first. Things feel different this time around for the Mustang. This could be the last American muscle car that's gas powered, and in just a few years. I mean, we don't know what Chevy is up to with the Camaro, and Dodge has things coming, but those are all gonna be electric. So not to get all dramatic, but this has a lot to live up to. Let's not waste any more time. New is really a relative term here. This 7th gen Stang is new, but in the same way that the latest Mission Impossible movie is new. It's something we literally haven't seen before, but we're very familiar with what it's all about. You know, I get to sit in a lot of driver's seats for this job, and it is a rare day where I have a V8 ahead of me, 3 pedals beneath me, and a good old-fashioned 6-speed manual next to me. Call it nostalgia, call it whatever you want, but this just feels right. There we go. Okay, so based on that little outburst, you can probably tell that I am driving the GT model right now with its glorious 5-liter V8. We'll also get a chance to drive the EcoBoost Mustang a little bit later on in the video. And just to let you know, this is the official first drive launch for the new Mustang, which means we're gonna be in a bunch of different cars over the course of this video. And that new Dark Horse Mustang that everybody's talking about, that we'll have the chance to drive in just a few weeks. So come on back soon for that video. You know, I started this day like a detective. I wanted to figure out if Ford has made this new and better. And then I started driving for a few minutes and I suddenly stopped caring about that question altogether. Because if you're buying a V8 powered Mustang in the year 2023, what you want is a little bit of old school. And rest assured, this has every bit of that recipe that you love and keep coming back for. However, it's also better. Ford has reworked the 5.0 V8 to offer 480 horsepower, or 486 with the active exhaust added. Hey, every bit counts. There's a new dual intake along with structural improvements and an upgraded oil pan. A 6-speed manual comes standard, and a revised version of the 10-speed auto will set you back $1,600. The big ticket item is the performance pack. It's $5,000. Oof, but it adds quite a bit. Upgraded wheels, bigger Brembo brakes, a limited slip diff, and some cosmetic changes. Oh, but don't put your wallet away yet, there's more. Magna Ride dampers are almost $1,750, and that active exhaust I mentioned is $1,225. But what's it like on the road? The new Mustang GT is a good sports car. It's intuitive, and it makes me feel better. When you're knocking on the door of 500 horsepower, that's what you want. You don't want to feel overwhelmed, and something about this car kind of just makes you feel like you have a cape on. But let's talk about this specific setup. GT V8 and a 6-speed manual. It's so good, and you're so focused on the engine, it kind of feels like the rest of the car just fades into the background. It feels like you're buying the powertrain, and you just happen to get a good sports car that comes along with it. The power is abundant, but it's not overwhelming, and I think that's an important distinction. Third gear feels absolutely heroic. You just roll onto the throttle, and it's not sketchy, but there's plenty of torque to get you home when you need it. For me, I've had this thing a gear above what I thought I needed, and it's been great. As a no-cost option, the 6-speed manual is an absolute no-brainer. The catch point in the clutch is super high up, which means you have plenty of space to get it wrong a few times and then get it right. It's pretty easy to pick up on your first day of driving, and the learning curve is simple. The actual gear shift is good. It's not quite Porsche or Civic Type R good, but the throws are really short, they're direct, and if you own a current gen Mustang, it is going to feel very familiar. The steering has really caught me off guard, but that's because it's quick. It reacts to very small inputs almost instantly. I don't want to call it twitchy because that would be doing it a disservice, but what I like is that as you start to pick up speeds in the corner, it settles in and it's very easy to predict and work with. Now we have plenty planned for this GT in the future, including some quick driving around our performance track. But for today, on-road exclusively, these 6-piston Brembos have had no issues, even in 95-degree heat. So we're in the middle of Angeles Crest Highway right now, which is a perfect winding road to feel out this GT. But getting here was a bit of a different story in that stoplight to stoplight, the suspension is a little bit stiff. If you want that performance package, you gotta commit to what that entails, and that means around town, it's not as comfortable as it could be. But up here, it feels just right. You know, the good thing about being in so many different spec'd cars in such a short period is you learn some things. Number one for me, convertible is a pretty different ball game from the hardtop. I don't mean how they look or anything like that, but the strength that you feel in the chassis, the kind of rock solid feeling that I have right now in the hardtop, you just don't get in the convertible. It shakes quite a bit more going over bumps. The other thing is kind of random, but I just got a reminder around that corner. These Recaro buckets, goodness gracious, they put the squeeze on you, man. And you don't get heating nor ventilation. And I'll probably get roasted for this in the comments, but I love the rev matching system. The thing is, you can turn it off if you don't want it. Some people are adamant that they want to do it on their own, and you can. But if you want to leave this, it's a perfect companion, and it just makes the canyon drive that much more pleasant. So as promised, here we are in an EcoBoost powered Mustang, in this case a Florida rental car spec special. Nice gray convertible top. In due time we will see plenty of these on their way to Disney World, no doubt. So the thing about the EcoBoost powered Mustang is nobody is out here proclaiming their love for the 4-cylinder. This is an underappreciated car. Thing is, over a third of new Mustangs will be spec'd with the 4-cylinder. So that means some of you are in the closet, but it's okay. We're right there with you. The 2.3 liter is now good for 315 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. Tiny gains over the last generation, but the revised 4-cylinder also ekes out a few more mpg on the highway. And like the GT, the performance pack is separate from the MagnaRide dampers and the active exhaust. The 10-speed auto and the Mustang and I have not always been friends. And now this is the only transmission you can get with the 4-cylinder, so I was looking for it to be better. And long story short, it is better. It's not perfect, but they've made some meaningful improvements. Ford has gone through and they've sworn that they have redone the shift mapping in a way that basically just makes the automatic a little bit smarter. This does not have that sort of buttery, smooth quickness that a DSG has in a Volkswagen, but it gets the job done. Now, this is a Ford Mustang. At the end of the day, this is a fun car. It is supposed to be fun. You'd be surprised to know some of the most fun that Ford had building this thing was in this brand new infotainment setup. You want proof? You go down to the Mustang button down here. Here's a little thing called Cluster Theme. Look at this. Fox body gauges. Look at that. Suddenly it's 1989 and I'm driving something that is definitely not a 4-cylinder convertible Mustang, but that's beside the point. This is hilarious, and it shows that they have a commitment not only to their heritage, but they like to have fun with the new things they're building. I love to see that. But let's take a step back here and really look at this infotainment system, because this is a big deal for this new generation Mustang. My guess is that some of you are watching right now and you own a current gen Mustang and you're thinking to yourself, is it worth the upgrade? Is it all that different? This is an area where Ford really went to town and made some thoughtful changes. Right in front of me, I have a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and a 13.4-inch touchscreen. Those two screens are going to come standard on every new Mustang, but this is the upgraded unit where it is one giant piece of glass right in front of me. I have to say it is a lot of screen. This is not a big car. I was kind of worried that it would be hard to see over. That is not a concern at all. It's easy to see over it. But this is a ton of screen in your face in a small sports car. The good news here is it's running Sync 4, so you'd be familiar with that if you've been in an F-150 or any of Ford's current generation products. And this has an Unreal Engine. So we're using stuff that they use in video games to make this super responsive. And I'm not playing around here. This is legit quick. I mean, sometimes it's easy to find bugs and things that lag. None of that is going on. It's easy to get through menus. It reacts instantly. It also comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So the tech suite going on, thumbs up. And it's not just the processing speed that really impresses me. Look at these visuals. This is just the drive mode selector for the car. So we're kicking it out of normal here. When you go into sport, there's this crazy visual of the Mustang. It even changes color. You cycle through to track and some of the other modes too. These are really neat things. It just screams sports car. It screams, hey, we're having fun. Shows you a GT with a V8, which is a little bit of a letdown on a 4-cylinder, but hey, you know, everybody can aspire. One thing I'm not such a huge fan of is that they took away some physical buttons and moved them into the screen. So that means if you want to adjust your fan speed, your temperature, you have to go mess around in the screen to deal with that. It looks cleaner, but you know, you lose some convenience there. As a whole, this interior is a step forward. It's not going to win any awards for being over the top incredible, but it's incrementally better than the last gen Mustang. And when it comes to a car like this, a little improvement goes a long way. And the rest of the interior, apart from the technology, which is a huge leap forward, does feel very familiar. The materials are similar. Those are classic Ford Mustang. And the space feels about right compared to before. It's good up here for the front too, but anybody in the back seat is not having a good time. If you got small kids, you can make it happen, but anybody bigger than that, no thank you. Look at this. Cool little Easter egg on the back window here. All 7 generations of Mustang marching along one behind the other. Now that's not only a cool, really thoughtful touch that they added, but to me it shows Ford recognizing just how far the Mustang has come as a car. And the design tweaks are a part of that story. Now, I say tweaks because it's not like they've rewritten the book on this thing. You still know exactly what you're looking at. This is a Mustang. But some of these new lines, oh my goodness. This rear cut line is intense. I didn't think it was this crazy when I saw the car first in pictures, but now here in person, I mean, look at that. The taillight is at an angle like that. This is a really severe line and it draws your attention to the back of the car. It looks awesome. I love what they've done with the rear haunches on the car. That said, this is the angle where it looks most like a Camaro. Sorry, I had to say it. Our car is done in a very kind of murdered out spec, but look at these bronze wheels. It's part of the bronze appearance package. They're covered in brake dust right now because that's the kind of day we've had when you drive a Mustang for the first time. But you can see it a little bit better here on the 5.0 badge. It's cool. It stands out really bright against a dark color scheme. Speaking of colors, you have a ton to pick from. Some are brand new for the 24 Mustang as well. You can pair those with a bunch of different wheel options. You're relegated to 19 and 20-inch wheels if you go for the GT. One more thing I wanted to point out at the front of the car. With the performance package, this gets blacked out and the grille gets blacked out. And something about that, regardless of the color you pick on the car, just looks right. The black looks awesome. Consider that if you're looking at the performance pack. All right, we're gonna do a little siding lap first here in the EcoBoost Mustang. They have a little autocross for us. All right, here we go. So immediately you notice the engine doesn't sound all that great, but once you get over that, the next thing you notice is that when you are not shifting by yourself, transmission isn't as quick as I'd like it to be. Brakes, fantastic. Really easy to figure out there. I could have been much harder on them if I wanted to. We're just getting a quick shot at this autocross, so I'm learning as I'm talking. Picking up a little bit more speed this time. Again, really stable. Easy to control through the cones. Let's hit the brakes a little harder this time. Wonderful. Huge fan of the brakes. So far, that's my favorite thing to feel out around this autocross. Pitching in a little harder into the corner. It is stable. There's a good brake right there. And let's hit the slalom a little bit harder this time. And I guess we're gonna get one more hot lap, which is good. Control the speed. Steering is really easy. You know exactly how much input to give. Hard on the brakes around the corner. Perfect. The transmission does get caught dumb for a little bit of a second there. It doesn't shift the way you want it to, and the car is in its most aggressive mode at the moment. So 10 speed letting me down just a little bit. And there's the end of our autocross. Lots of seat time, lots of different Mustangs. Here's my breakdown for you after driving all of them. The EcoBoost is a very well-rounded sports car. One of those with the performance pack and the convertible top would be an incredible daily driver, and you wouldn't cry every time you go to a gas station. But if your heart is really in it, this is it. This is the one to get. GT Performance Pack, specifically with this combination, the 6-speed manual. There's something about this powertrain, the tweaks that they've made to the 5.0, the 6-speed. It is at the top of its game. And that's good, because if I had to guess, it's not gonna be here very much longer. Let's not waste any more time. I said I want to drive the new Mustang. Woohoo! It's hot. It's really hot. Why did I wear black?